Oh man, it's gonna rain. Yep, it's raining. I'm literally running away from rain clouds right now. So in this slight downpour, I want to take the opportunity to tell you a story. This is a story of how I very nearly, I either died or became like handicapped for the rest of my life. Very nearly. I was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6. It's back a long time ago when I lived in Delaware. And anyway, I think I was at a Wednesday night service or something at our local church. And it was afterwards, and all the kids were, playing around and doing whatever. And during the service or sometime, the little prong on my belt that goes through the belt itself, like the little buckle part, came off of my belt. And so I had been playing around with it, and you know how like the older guys will have like toothpicks in their mouth? Well, silly me, I thought it'd be cool to have a little belt prong in my mouth, be all cool, yeah. So I stick it in there, I'm walking around with it, I feel cool. I'm sure all the other kids thought I was cool too. Well, anyway, for whatever reason, another young boy, we'll call him Jeff, I don't actually know his real name, thought it would be cool, yeah, to walk up and clap me on the back. Like, hey, buddy. And I, being stupid, having this belt buckle in my mouth and getting hit on the back, inhale it. That's right, I inhale it. I did not swallow it. I went and swallowed up that belt buckle into my lungs. Well, I say into my lungs, it almost went into my lungs. That is officially a downpour. Smart! Anyway, I start choking and gagging on this thing, and I can still breathe alright, and I can still swallow, but I know something's wrong. Something hurts, is uncomfortable, and so what do if you're, 4 or 5 years old and something hurts or is comfortable? Go running to your parents, obviously. So I go running to my dad, and I'm trying to explain what happened, but I can't really talk. But my throat is very hoarse, I guess, from like having to literally like mangle that belt buckle prong down my throat. So I can barely talk, and everybody in the room is trying to guess what's wrong with me. I think one lady even suggested I eat some bread. Like, that'll help, like, whatever happened. Eat some bread. Oh, you fell down, scuffed me? Here, have some bread. Girlfriend dumped you? I'm sorry, man. Here, have some bread. Maybe it's one of those old wives' tale cure-alls. I should pack bread with me on the bike. But anyway, my dad, being the sensible man that he is, calls 911, and an ambulance comes and picks me up. Which, as a 4 or 5-year-old, I just think is the coolest thing in the world. I get to ride in the back of an ambulance. My goodness, that rain is getting heavy. I can actually see the droplets coming and hitting me in the face. They're very big. They strap me down into the ambulance bed and put the little thing on my arm to measure my blood pressure, and of course I don't know what that is. All I know is that it squeezes your arm if you hit this button. And as a convenient way to distract me from all the goings-on, the ambulance people, we'll call them EMTs, instruct me on how to operate this arm crunchy band thing. And so for the next like 10 minutes, I'm just boop, 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 constantly hitting it. And I can remember one of the EMTs saying, let's let the machine rest, it's gonna get tired. And I'm like, oh, okay. About 5 minutes after that, I come to the realization that the ambulance lights are on and I can't hear a siren. So I asked one of the EMTs, I'm like, aren't the lights supposed to be on? I can't really remember her look or expression or tone, but I imagine it was something like, yeah. So she talks to the driver and he turns on the lights and puts on the siren. And oh, by the way, my dad isn't in the ambulance. He's following in a truck behind us. So you can imagine his point of view, his vantage. He's following an ambulance with his child in it, that something has gone wrong and his throat hurts, and suddenly the lights and sirens go on of the ambulance. I think he later told me that he got really freaked out. So anyway, we get to the hospital and we're put in a room and stuff, and I can't really see much out of the bed. The bed is in the middle of the room and people can walk around behind it. So at one point everybody in the room with me walked around the back of it, talking or whatever, I guess, and I couldn't hear or see them, and I got freaked out and hit the call button for the nurse, which also freaked my dad out. Eventually, they took me in to have the operation, because at this point they know that I've inhaled a belt buckle. It turns out that the belt buckle, the little loop on the very end of the belt buckle that secures it to the actual belt, not the pointy end that goes through your belt, but the little loop, got caught on that V split inside your trachea or your esophagus, where it splits to go to either of your lungs. It caught on that and it was hanging there. Fun, right? So anyway, they take me into the anesthesiology room and go, "What flavor would you like?" What? They go, "We have bubblegum and grape and watermelon," and I'm thinking, ooh, watermelon! Because honestly, I have no idea what's going on, and they're like, watermelon flavor. Okay, yeah! So the guy pops a mask on my face, and immediately there comes this rush of cool, very, very watermelon-y tasting air. And it's very thick. And I'm trying to tell the anesthesiologist, "Hey, it's too watermelon-y," and I got to about, "It's too and I'm out like a light. And the next thing I know, I wake up in a completely different room and the operation's already gone on. My dad tells me that they took these like plier things and stuck them down my esophagus and yanked the thing out. And I was avoided a very potentially serious, life-altering injury to my lungs. Yeah, and that's what happened. Moral of the story: don't stick weird stuff in your mouth. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little amusing anecdote. Look forward to more videos every Friday and randomly throughout the week. And I will see you guys in the next one.